All right. Again, welcome to this webinar. This is a Mysteries of the Library Revealed webinar. This is part of a series. This one is on search alerts, and I'm Erin Gold-Branson. Hello, and with me is the wonderful Kim Burton.
Hello.
And now that you've seen that we're real people, I'm going to turn off my webcam because it can be a little distracting. And I will tell you a little bit about what we're going to do this evening. So, like I said, this is a series of webinars that we're doing about all different topics related to the library. So we do one every month, the third Monday of the month. If that's confusing, you can just look on our website and you can see when the next one is going to be. I can't keep track of the third Mondays. And they're always at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the next one is going to be on July 16th. And that one is going to be somewhat similar to what we're going to talk about tonight. They are different. The next one's going to be specifically about setting up alerts for journals, for just a particular journal or a few particular journals. So tonight we're doing search alerts. We're going to show you all about that. And then if you want to learn about how to set up a different type of alert for just one title, one journal, you can come back in July and learn about that. I hope that you will. All right, so these are the questions we're going to address in this webinar. Just what are search alerts? What does that even mean? What is this topic? Why would I want to use them? How would they be helpful to me in my research? And how do I actually set them up? That's probably the most important part. That's probably why most of you are here.
Right.
So what are they? I'll go ahead and address that. It's just what it sounds like. You do a search in a database, or we're going to show you, you can also do this in Google Scholar, which really, I mean, technically it's a database too. So you do a search, you like your search results, and then you set up an alert so that if something new gets published or gets added to that database, an article gets added because it's new, or it's new to that database, hey, it matches your search, and then the database will just automatically notify you that that article exists. Hey, this matched your search, it's new, we just got it, there you go. So you don't have to keep, in other words, you don't have to keep going back into a database and doing the same search over and over again. All right. And Kim, did you have a question for me about that?
I did. I'm trying to read two things at the same time. So when you set up these alerts, how are you notified about when something new is out there, and how often should we expect to get emails from the databases when they find things?
That is a wonderful question. So a lot of that is going to depend on where you set up your alert, what database it was in, and what you told it you want. So this should make more sense once we show you how to actually set up the alerts. But for instance, I have an alert set up in Google Scholar for a search, and because it's through Google Scholar, I only get things when something new is found, and so I could go months without seeing anything from Google Scholar. But in some of our databases, it'll actually let you just get an alert even if nothing new is there, so you can see that it really depends on what service you've used, which database. And so we'll show you all that in just a little bit. And now I think I'm ready to hand it over to you, Kim, so you can talk to us about why you would want to do this.
Great, thanks. Just waiting to get my notice.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Letting everybody know what's going on here. Okay, so do you see the slide? Why should I want to use them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there's a couple of reasons that you may want to use search alerts. They are so wonderful to stay current in your area of research. As a scholar, it is really important to keep up on newly published research. Having alerts set up to continually look for new articles will keep you aware of the current conversation in your field, so you know what other people in your field are researching and other things that they're talking about. As part of your literature review, you have to show how your study or research is going to be contributing to this current conversation. So by setting up an alert and getting all these brand new articles being sent to you, you're going to know what's new out there. You can also learn about gaps that may be existing in the research. So you're learning about the new research that's happening. That research may talk about future research that might be necessary. So these are all things that you're going to want to look at, and you want to start looking at them now, so you're ready. But when you're at that stage of doing your literature review for your dissertation or your project study. Search alerts also can be sent to you by, as Erin had mentioned, by email, but you can also set up an RSS feed and new items will come matching your search terms when they're added to the database, and you can just go to this RSS feed and have a whole list of them. We have new ones popping up all the time. You can help find new articles for your dissertation or doctoral study. You're being comprehensive. So you're finding everything that you can out there so you don't miss anything new. And it saves time. So you do a great search. You get all these really relevant, focused results back. You're going to want to go back in and do that search again to see if anything new has been published. Well, setting up a search alert, you don't have to do it. You tell the database to do it, it's going to run it for you, and then it's just going to send you the results. So it's kind of like passive searching. It does the work for you.
Excellent. So we are, saying pretty much these are really helpful. Hint, hint, if you are doing a dissertation, if you're a doctoral student. For those of you who maybe aren't doctoral students, we didn't limit this with who can sign up for this webinar. So it still can be fun. If you're getting a master's degree or something, you're not, looking at doing a dissertation. It can still just be a fun thing to do, or just to stay current in your area. But Kim, you mentioned, finding new articles for those doctoral, those PhD students. How many new articles should they be finding each week?
Well, that really depends on the topics. Some topics are just more popular than others, and there's more information out there. Sometimes you have a topic that is really hot right now in the field, in your field of study that people are discussing, and you might find, be able to find a lot. Sometimes they're not being written, it's not that popular of a topic and you're not going to find them. But I have some faculty tell me that they recommend that their students find 1 to 5 new articles every week in their subject area, so that they're just aware of what's going on and what that current conversation is. Which is, that's a lot. So this is a really helpful way to stay on top of all this new research.
Very cool. Yep.
Yeah. So how do we set them up? So this is where we're getting to the nitty-gritty of the webinar. These are 2 links. The first one is a link to the library guide on search alerts that talks about setting them up. And the second one is how to set up alerts in Google Scholar. But I'm going to do a little demo and show you how you can set these up right now. The first thing you have to remember is that you are not setting up a search alert with a specific database. What you're doing is you're setting it up with a vendor, and some vendors can provide numerous databases to us. So let's just go in here to our databases from the library homepage. I'll click on databases A to Z, and we'll just go into, since I'm the education liaison librarian, I just always go into education source, but this will work in any, this will work in any of the EBSCO databases. So this is an EBSCO database. I know that because I have this little EBSCO icon right here. If I click on this Choose Databases link, it's going to list all the EBSCO databases that the library has access to. So what I'm going to show you right now is how to set up a search alert that you'd be able to set up in any of these databases, such as Medline, CINAHL, Business Source, PsycInfo, all of them. Okay, So the first thing I want to do is just do a simple search. So let's say I am interested in teachers, career development. Let's do that one. I'll just do really easy. Career development and barriers, obstacles, or challenges for teachers to get do career development. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to limit my results. I'm going to uncheck full text because I want to find everything that's out there. But you don't have to. If you're just doing a search for something for an assignment, you'll leave full text checked off. I am interested in peer-reviewed scholarly journals, and I only want articles since 2015. So I'll go ahead and I'll hit search. And I got 176, so that's a lot. I want to narrow this down a little. Let's just make that. I'll just search for teachers in the abstract of the article, and that brings it down a little bit. So I'm getting a nice group of focused results. But let's say this is a really relevant group of results that I have here. I'm finding articles that are very, very helpful to me, and I want to find more. So I want to keep running this search. I'm just going to tell EBSCO to have Education Source run this search for me. So as I mentioned, this is through EBSCO, and in order for it to run a search alert, I actually have to make an account with EBSCO. This will allow me to not only set up search alerts, but also save articles to my folder. So it's very easy to do. All you want to do is go up here to the sign in. I have an account, but if you click on sign in and you don't have one, you click on create one now, and it's very easy to do. You just walk through the process, and then once you have one and you can sign in, you will know that you're in your account because it will say my EBSCO right up here on the left, and my name is up here. Now, when you're doing searches in any EBSCO database, such as Education Source, when you get in there, you will not automatically be in your account. You're going to have to sign in. So that means that when you're doing a search, you're going to have to sign in twice. You're going to sign in for the library, and then you're going to sign in here at EBSCO. So now that I'm signed in, I can set up my alert. I want to go over here to where it says share, and just go down to create an email alert and click on that. And here I have it. So there's a couple options that you might want to choose. It starts out with what the alert is. In the subject line of the email, it's going to say your EBSCO alert with this information of what you're searching. I like to click HTML. If you do that, when you get the email, you'll have a direct link to the article. So it's not just going to tell you what the article is, you can actually link right to it. Then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put in my email address, and whoops, where did it go? I hit return. So it's easy to find your search alerts. We're just going to go to the folder, search alerts, and this is the alert right there. I'll continue to edit that. So I'm going to tell it how long I want it to run. Let's say I just wanted them to run it once a month. I have my email in there. I'll go ahead and click save. And now once a month, EBSCO will run this search and send me the results. Now, right now I'm in my folder. I clicked on this little folder icon right up here, and you can see there's a link down here to search alerts, and I have all my alerts here. Some of them have names, some of them this is the one I just did, but you can see like this search alert I have right here. It has all the dates that this search alert has run. So I can click on, I can go back, I received the email to look at it, but let's say I want to go back, and I always can come back here. Let me look at the search that was run on June 13th. And there, that search brought up 4 new articles for this search. So it's a really great, easy way to get these new articles. Now, as I mentioned, it's really important to sign in when you're doing this. There's no reminder that you have not signed in, so you just always want to look and make sure that it says My EBSCO here and your name is up here. As you're doing your searches, you can save things to your folder, but if you're not in your account, when you exit, you'll lose everything that's in that folder. So you just want to double check that you're actually logged in if you're planning on saving anything. Okay. I also really wanted to show you very quickly how to set up an alert in Google Scholar by doing, when you're doing some citation chaining. So Google Scholar is a great resource. It's really has so many great information. It's really good for finding exact articles because it does have so much information in it. And I always want to access Google Scholar through the library. So what I will do is this banner at the top of the library page, which is always on top of every library page, I'm going to click on Start Your Research, and then I'm going to click on Google Scholar. So now when I do a search in here, I am automatically linked to the Walden databases. So what I'll do is, let's say I have a article. I'm going to copy this article and just paste it in there. So this is an article that I found that was really helpful in my search. It was published in 2009. I want to find some newer articles that I can use. So if I just search for this in Google Scholar, it'll find me the exact article. Here's a link so I can look at it in the Walden databases. But if I click on this cited by 84, it'll bring me to the 84 articles that cite this article. So I'm moving forward in the literature because they would all have been published after 2009. So now I can also click on search within citing articles, and in here I'll type in distance education, and it's going to find all the articles that not only cite this one, but they also talk about distance education. So now I have focused results. This is a good time to set up an alert in Google Scholar because Google Scholar has so much information. I don't want to be inundated with emails from them. So by setting it up now, I'm only going to get articles that not only cite this original one, but also discuss distance education. And it's really easy to set up an alert in Google Scholar. We just click on the Create an Alert. You type in your email address and then click on Create an Alert, and it'll email you every time something new is published and Google Scholar has access to it. Now, I was kind of jumping ahead, and I have to apologize to Erin because once I start talking, so once I start talking, I have a hard time stopping. So I wanted to actually pass this over to Erin so she can show you how to set up an alert in another database as well. So sorry about that, Erin.
No, no problem. That was very informative. So yeah, I do want to mention, you know, Kim showed us how to set up an alert in any database that comes from that EBSCO company. So many times students don't realize that we have a lot of other databases from other companies too, and they're often very important for your area of research. So I just want to cover one other main ones because we don't have time to show you every single type of database. But I want to show you another main one. There's a company called ProQuest, and we get several databases from them as well. So let me just go back over to the library homepage. I'm the liaison to the College of Health Sciences. So especially for my nursing and health science students, there are some ProQuest databases that are focused in those areas that are really, really important for their research topics usually. So, but if you're not in the health sciences or nursing, the ProQuest databases also, we have one that's multidisciplinary called ProQuest Central, and you can find articles on all kinds of topics there, business, education, all different areas. So just because you're not health sciences or nursing, don't think this doesn't apply to you. So I'm going to start, there are multiple ways to get to every database. So I'm just going to show you getting to it like Kim did through databases A to Z. And then I'm just going to go jump to the P's for ProQuest. And let me just scroll down here and I'll get to where you'll see all the ProQuest databases listed. So ProQuest Central, that's our multidisciplinary one. If you did want to look in the ebooks, you could do that, or the dissertations, you could specifically do that. But I want to point out also the ProQuest Health and Medical database, Nursing and Allied Health Source database, the science journals. And just like we saw in EBSCO, we could do a search across more than one ProQuest database and set up an alert. So I'm going to just show you that really quickly. I know we're running close on time, but I'm going to go to ProQuest Central. It is multidisciplinary. And to choose more than one database, I would click on Change Databases up here. So it's above the advanced search box. I would click Change Databases. And then I can just, if I wanted to do, let's say, ProQuest Central and the Nursing and Allied Health database, I can have that check marked. Actually, ProQuest Central is going to include all of these that are automatically check marked underneath it. So I've got a lot that I'm searching here. And I'm going to say use selected databases. So maybe let's say I just wanted the nursing and the other health and medical collection. I could just choose whatever I want and then use those selected databases. And I, again, like Kim did in the EBSCO database, I would want to do a really targeted search. This was something that I just did earlier today, so I'm going to use it because it's on my mind. And it's probably going to be a little bit too broad, but let's say I'm looking for articles about caregivers with patients with dementia and their attitudes about change. Actually, I'm going to say their attitudes with transitions, and I'll go ahead and do that search. Now, things are a little bit different here in the ProQuest database. I don't have to have a login. I personally like that because I don't like having to log into things. So I do have a lot here. I might limit down a little bit more. I could add in other keywords, but let's say I like this. I'm going to go to Save Search Alert. Click on that. It's right underneath my search box, and I'm going to click on Create Alert. Kim mentioned RSS feeds. If you wanted to create an RSS feed, you could also do that. I personally, I don't know how you feel about this, Kim, but I personally like the alerts. I like it to come to my email because I would have to remember to check an RSS feed. I used to do RSS feeds and I never remembered to check them. So I like the alerts. Yeah. Okay, good. We're on the same page. Yeah. So I'll click on Create Alert, and I just want to show you it's similar to what we saw before. I can name this alert. Let's say I want to say, you know, this is my broad search, you know, because I didn't narrow it down too much. Whatever I want to name it, and then it will give me what I actually searched for. Sometimes people just copy and paste that and make that the name so that they can see what they actually put in as their keywords as the name of the alert.
You know, Erin, I just want to mention, because somebody had just asked a question about this, but naming the alert is a really great idea because sometimes you forget why you were searching it or what exactly it was. So it really, it's very helpful if you could just name it, you know, something right away and you'll know what it is.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Remind yourself why you did the search. That's always good. And then just as we saw, you know, I would put in my email, whatever email I want it to go to. None of this is linked to, I mean, you have to log in to get into our databases, but if you don't want to have to check your Walden email for these alerts, you don't have to use your Walden email for this. I just like to mention that because sometimes students are like, yeah, I don't really check my Walden email. So make sure you put in an email you'll actually check. The subject line will be what the search terms were in your search. So that's different than the name that you give the search. And then this is the part that you want to really pay attention to, these steps 3 and 4. So do you want the search details, like what it was that you searched for, yes or no? Do you want them to include highlighting? And this is where you'll see it on the results screen too. It gives you like the little snippet of a part of the article or part of the abstract and the title, and if your keywords that you searched for are part of those, it will highlight your search terms. So like you can see, oh, this one has my search terms in the title. I like the highlighting, but some people don't care. They don't notice it. And then this is really important. Do you want to include newly published documents only? because, and I hinted at this a little bit earlier, sometimes this database will get new content that is historical. It gets a whole journal that it didn't have before, and it's getting everything that's ever been published in that journal, and it's new to ProQuest Central, but that doesn't mean it's actually newly published. It gets the whole run of a journal that could go back to the 1990s or 1940s or whatever. So maybe you don't care about those old things because you only need newly published research. So make sure you keep that on newly published documents only, unless you're interested in older things too that maybe are new here to this database but not actually newly published. So just pay attention to that. And then how often do you want it? Again, same as we saw with Kim and EBSCO. But I also like to pay attention to the stop after. It is defaulted to 2 months. So that means it won't send you anything after 2 months. If you, let's say you're working on your dissertation, you might want to set that to 6 months or a whole year because you don't want to miss out on something as you are then moving on from your literature review part of your dissertation and writing the rest of it. So you might want to change that to 6 months or a year. But yeah, it's going to default to 2 months. Just be aware of that. So maybe I'll change that there. And then this is something I mentioned a little bit too. Do you want it to send a scheduled alert even when there's nothing new? You can go ahead and check that so you know you are going to be getting those emails monthly or weekly, and hey, you can choose which day of the week you get them on. So it can be search alert Sunday, and then you'll get one even if nothing new has matched your search. I think sometimes people just like that reassurance that it's working and it's still set up, and then you just click create alert. So I know I'm running out of time. Were there any other questions about that?
Nope. There were no other questions. Although, you know what? I also, when it comes to putting an email in, I sometimes also recommend for some people to use their personal email because you'll still have these accounts with these vendors after you leave Walden. So if you have access to any of these databases through a public library or through your work, you could still access them. So sometimes that would be helpful to have it on your personal email.
Great tip, because I have had access to EBSCO databases since I was an undergrad, and I still have the same personal email, and I can still access these from, and boy, is that fun to look at sometimes.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up completely, I did want to just point out, let's say you're using a completely different database. You have more questions about this, or you have questions that we couldn't answer tonight because they were outside of the scope of this webinar. Here up in the top right corner is where you will find our Ask a Librarian service. Again, I'm on the library homepage, but if you go to any other page through the library website, it's still up here in the top right corner. Just click on Ask a Librarian and you will see all the different ways that you can get in touch with us. We will get back to you within 24 hours if you email us. It's usually a lot faster than that, but we have 24 hours. You usually don't have to wait that long. And we do have chat hours, just specific hours where we offer a chat service. It's not 24/7. We don't have enough people for that. But for instance, we are live on chat right now. There's someone available. If I clicked this, it would be a real live librarian on the other end. So you can send questions to us that way. And we hope that you will if you need more help with either search alerts or anything else that we weren't able to get to tonight. And let me just make sure. Yep, also if you save this PowerPoint, we have included, well, really Kim included, wonderful links to specific account help through these vendors. So we don't control the EBSCO vendor. We don't, well,
right.
We pay them money and we get good service from them, but we don't always know all the technical ins and outs of their services or the things that could go wrong technically. With their content. So you can contact them. You can see their help page for using that My EBSCO folder. ProQuest does have a service where you can create an account. It's called My Research. So if you wanted to learn more about that, you could go to that ProQuest My Research help page. We just didn't have time tonight to go through all of that. And then just another reminder that this is a series, and if you want to learn about specific journal alerts where you would just get alerts about new articles on your topic from one journal or particular journals, come to our webinar in July. We would love to have you back there. And I think I will go ahead and stop the recording and we'll hang out and see if you have more questions. Thank you again for attending.